Ladies and gentlemen, I come before you as a humble man. My apologies. Zero excuses. I slept through my alarms. Every morning I set 7 alarms, and I slept through them all. That hasn't happened in probably 8 years where I haven't slept through them. I had a Fox 29 hit at 7:30 as well. So I'm extremely late for you. I apologize. And I'm just missing that. I'm not just going to not do my show to run over there. So here I am. I apologize, but let's talk some draft. Let's give the people what they want. I thank you in the comments. Sean Gillespie, 5:45. I was going to start at not only just on time, but 15 minutes earlier than the actual scheduled start time of the show. So I could do everything I needed to do today. That's not going to happen. So now I'll have this horrible feeling of guilt, probably for the rest of my life. Yeah, for the rest of my life, I'll have it, because I still feel guilty about the last time I did something like this, right? So yeah, and it's not like I get, hey, where are you? We're doing the thing. No, that's not happening. But anyway, unlike me, the Eagles had a really good last 12 hours. I watched everything last night, stayed up, that's why I overslept, but whatever. No excuses. Watched Howie Roseman, watched Nick Sirianni, I watched John Campbell in his press conference. I can't remember anybody being drafted by the Eagles that was that excited, running down a corridor, running down a hallway, slapping the Eagles logo out of excitement. I didn't think it was possible to get him. And my first thought when I saw that the Eagles were taking a linebacker, and I went through it with you guys yesterday. I was talking about defensive ends, safeties, defensive tackles, tight ends even, as a long shot there. I did not look at linebackers at all. And everything recently that you've talked about when it's come to JIHAAD Campbell, it's been all about the linebacker, him playing the linebacker position more so than playing the edge position. He came into Alabama as an edge rusher. They made him more into an inside linebacker. Had shoulder surgery after the combine in March, like last month, had shoulder surgery for a torn labrum. All reports after that have been extremely positive. He is an extremely versatile player. He also was in no way, shape, or form expected to go, at least in the mock draft world, to the Philadelphia Eagles at 31, but yet here we are. And afterwards, after the draft last night, Howie Roseman talked about how he was a top 10 player on their draft board. And when the Eagles, when the draft got to around 24, 25, I was like, okay, this is going to be striking distance for Howie. If they don't pick at 24, 25, they're probably trading out. That was my thought. And because it's always Howie Roseman talking about how they don't have 32 first-round draft grades on their players. So, on any player in a draft. Just realizing I didn't flip this over.
There we go. Started abruptly, so that should be better audio now. Excuse me. Danny Johnson, we support you. Thank you. So when that happened, I thought, oh, they're going to trade out of the first round of the draft. There's no way that anybody that Howie Roseman really liked or really wanted is still going to be there. And sure enough, not only was one of the guys that they wanted there, but one of the guys that they wanted in the top 10 that they also tried to trade up earlier for in the draft and didn't get him. So thank goodness that it didn't work out earlier. I don't know what it would have cost them to move up to wherever they thought they were going to have to move up to get Campbell, but they got him at 31. I'm amazed at this. All offseason, and even going into the offseason when we were asking questions about Zach Bond, okay, who, by the way, I heard, I think it was Dave Zangaro, NBC Sports Philly, put that out there as the comparison. And other people have put it out as a comparison as well, that he's such a versatile player. He can play on the edge, but he can also play in the middle. But it's or off ball linebacker as well. he put out there as the comparison Zach Bond. Very interesting. But all through towards the end of last season, when we were talking about whether or not the Eagles were going to be able to sign Zach Bond, whether or not they were really going to actually spend money on a linebacker, I maintained throughout the entire process until it was done that they were going to sign him. There's no way they were going to let Zach Bond go. So bringing a linebacker back, essentially, on a franchise record deal. And then you guys know how shocked I was last year, and I've said this throughout the season, that the Eagles, we got to get used to this world where the Eagles are spending money on a running back, a record high number on a running back. And the Eagles are spending money on a linebacker. And now the Eagles have just used their first round pick that they traded up for to get a linebacker in here. Now you could go, oh, well, it's going to be an edge. He's going to play edge. He's not going to play like, well, yeah, fine. But he's, for all intents and purposes, nobody labeled him anything yesterday. There is only one position labeled, and it's not linebacker, and it's not edge. You know what it is? Dominant force. Dominant force. That's what John Campbell is labeled. That's what he labeled himself, at least last night when he was addressing the media around 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. That's what he labeled himself as, because it came from every angle. It came from, all right, well, you're going to be an edge rusher for this team? Well, not really. You're going to be a linebacker for this team? Well, really not. Focus on that. And it was the same from Howie Roseman, and it was the same from Campbell himself, who was addressing the media last night. He said, I'm just worried about being a dominant force for this defense. And yes, he did confirm he grew up as an Eagles fan. So that's why that Eagles chant came so natural to him. I still can't believe that this is what the Eagles are getting away with. This is another feel. Maybe Walter Nolan would be the guy that would have been the ultimate. Wow, how did he get to Howie? And now he's going to play next to Jalen Carter on that defensive line. That probably would have been the ultimate. And the fact that he did go to Jonathan Gannon earlier in the draft, mid-round, 16th overall, that made me go, oh, I guess the problems that people had issues with that weren't really problems after all. But yet, there you go. But I was listening to him talk last night, and I was thinking about, he's excited to play for Vic Fangio and to get into that scheme, obviously. And I was listening to him talk, and I was just like, what dawned on me was Vic Fangio has really brought in a whole new way of thinking for the Eagles. This guy that the Eagles tried to emulate with Jonathan Gannon and Sean Desai, having the real deal here is absolutely worth it when it comes to, obviously, you have a Super Bowl victory now, but just when you talk about overall philosophy, just what his experience brings. Like, I was a fan of Jim Schwartz when he was here in Philadelphia. People talk about the 500 plus yards of total offense in the Super Bowl, all that, but I liked him. I have never felt this good about an Eagles defensive coordinator since the late great Jim Johnson. Just a guy that comes in here and understands the assignment, a guy that has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to NFL defenses and NFL offenses and how to stop them as well. And not just that, but just overall scheme and philosophy of the way you do things. And I can only imagine the first real meeting with Howie Roseman and Vic Fangio. It's like, well, linebackers really aren't our thing. Well, they're kind of my thing. They're going to kind of be important right now. Whether they're outside linebackers, edge rushers, off ball, inside guys, they're important. We really don't value the position. Well, I do. So we're going to value that position now. If you want me here with running your defense, it's going to be important right now. It's important to the tune of, hey, check out this Zach Bond guy and see what you like. And then Vic Fangio looks at the tape and goes, I kind of like how he shifts in motion with a tight end. That's kind of like he does it in a way that looks like a middle linebacker. That's it. No rhyme or reason. I play this all the time. You guys know that I play this all the time when it comes to the Vic Fangio, but what is it? Yeah, that dad sound that he makes when he sits down, right? Whoops, sorry, wrong button there. What I one of the most dad thing that he said last year at training camp when he was asked about whether or not he embraces analytics, he said, "I got my own analytics." Whatever his analytics are, they figured out what Zach Baldwin was going to be, and now they could definitely figure out what JIHAAD Campbell's going to be. I can't believe it. I didn't want him to go safety. You guys know I have my heart set. I am dead set on Justin Simmons becoming a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's going to happen. When Starks went off the board, I went, oh, okay, that's going to be good for us. As far as my theory on, and many people's theories is Justin Simmons is most likely going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. That's my hunch on all this. But everything else, I was watching guys fall off the board when Harmon went from Oregon to the Steelers. That was another, you guys know my board. I liked defensive tackles over defensive ends. Nolan, of course, going off at 16. Once Harmon went off, I went, I think that's kind of it. That's where I started to think the Eagles are going to trade out of the first round. And then they traded up. And they traded up one pick with the Kansas City Chiefs. They traded up one spot. Jokingly, immediately, my first reaction was, Howie just can't wait. He just can't wait one more pick. He's too impatient. So he wants to be too. I got to do something, you know. So he moved up one spot. When it came to the real reason why they moved up, supposedly, and Adam Schefter put this out there during the draft, another team also wanted to move up, maybe back into the first round again and get Campbell. Now, the Giants had just moved back up to get their quarterback, who, shout out to my man, Jeff McDevitt, who put it out there, of the video of Campbell popping the helmet off of Jackson Dart when they were both in college, obviously. That's a great video if you haven't seen it. It's enjoyable. But some other team trying to trade back into the first round to get JIHAAD Campbell. What people thought was going to happen with Walter Nolan happened with Campbell. What happened was the rest of the NFL said, we don't trust the medical. We're not there, and just allowed him to slip and slide down. I saw Jeremy Fowler of ESPN put a story out there, or excuse me, a post out there about how other teams did have Campbell on their top 10. Eagles were one of those teams. My first thought was, what was that? He said NFL executive has JIHAAD Campbell as a top 10 player in this draft. I was like, oh, yeah, for sure, top 10 player. I don't know if that was Fowler looking into Howie Roseman's claim that they had him as a top 10 guy on their draft board, or if that was just Jeremy Fowler talking to Howie Roseman himself, be like, well, really, you have a top 10 for sure? Wow, okay. Either way, this is a phenomenal, didn't think it was possible draft pick that the Eagles just got yesterday. And this is a world that we're ever getting used to. First off, 2-time Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. That's a lot of fun to say. To say that you're paying a running back record money, to say you're paying a linebacker, and to say you just drafted a linebacker is absolutely bonkers. In the first round that they traded up for. This is the world I like. This is what I like a lot. Listening to Howie afterwards, just talked about the player's explosiveness, what he could bring to the table in that regard. They didn't see the shoulder as an issue. So that, I mean, look, if they're taking him in the first round, then it's not just let's see if it works. No, the shoulder's all right. And the other thing, let's keep in mind, when the Eagles drafted, and I'm not comparing the players, I'm comparing the situation. When the Eagles drafted Nakobe Dean, a big talking point was, oh, well, the shoulder is an issue. And Nakobe Dean, I remember during the post-draft interview, the post-draft media session, Nakobe Dean's like, I'm fine. I don't know what people are talking about with this shoulder injury, but I'm okay. And then it turned out to be Nolan Smith that had a shoulder issue. Well, the Eagles, for them to take JIHAAD Campbell at the spot they took him. I mean, sold the first round, trade up. They still relieve themselves of an asset. Trade up to get him shows you that they don't really have an issue, even though Howie Roseman verbatim said that in his press conference. It also, the action obviously backs it up as well. Said it wasn't a need pick. Yeah, I would agree with that. This is just a good pick. Considered one of the best players in the draft. Talking about whether or not he was going to work with Washburn or King as a linebacker coach. And he said, versatile, hand in the dirt, yet to be determined. Wouldn't put him in a box. There are one or two more questions about what position he's going to play for the Eagles, and he wouldn't really get into it. Again, top 10 player on the board, and they got him at 31. You know how good at your job you have to be? And this was a question yesterday to Howie Roseman. You know how good at your job you have to be to have other people fear you and like not want to take your calls because you have such a phenomenal track record of winning trades, especially on draft day. Howie said, no, I didn't get any. I don't feel like people were ignoring my calls. There's one report somebody was, but yeah. As far as JIHAAD Campbell went with his media session, did grow up an Eagles fan. He said he only talked to Howie, and he did mention Coach Washburn, which would make you believe defensive end, edge rusher, more edge rusher than linebacker. Thought that was an interesting thing. But again, when he was asked if he said, and it was Jeff McClain that caught that and followed up on it. I caught it and I went, ooh, Washburn. All right, we're talking about defensive ends here. We're talking about edge rushers here. McClain caught that as well. And during the press conference, he said, well, does that mean you envision yourself as an edge? Are the Eagles telling you they envision you as an edge? And Campbell said, well, I just envision myself to be a dominant force. New position. So very happy with this draft. Very happy with the Eagles' philosophical change over the last handful of months here. I still feel Zach Bond completely made them change their minds. He rose to the occasion. And I'll make this comparison when it comes to really, Bond you can include in this, Campbell and Saquon Barkley. Here's what I'm going to put these three guys together. Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman are interested in playmakers. If you get away from the traditional spending that the Eagles have done, where every position has a price range on it, and they're not willing to go above this number for that position, if you put that aside for a second, I think you can acknowledge that the Eagles have completely changed that model, the model that they have gone by. And they have done it more drastically than I thought possible. They just want people in here that are going to make plays. They obviously want people in here that are going to be good people and all that, but they want people that are going to come in here and make plays. The position, a little bit more fluid. And when you talk about the versatility of a guy like Campbell, you're talking about a guy that can rush the passer. You're talking about a guy that can go through the middle of the line of scrimmage. You're talking about a guy that can drop back. I mean, he described himself during the combine, during an interview. I think it was it might have been with the Colts. He described himself as a Swiss Army knife because everyone's trying to nail him down as an inside guy or an edge rusher. And he said, I just consider myself to be a Swiss Army knife. What does the team need? I'll be that. That's exactly what you want to hear from a young prospect. It's exactly what you want to hear from your first-round pick. Some other things from the draft last night that jumped out. Cam Ward, of course, goes number 1 to the Titans. Abdul Carter, he's with the Eagles farm system, known as the New York Giants. And 3rd overall pick. Eagles actually the Giants trading back for Jackson Dart at 25. Cowboys, the Tyler Booker situation. The guard out of Alabama. Actually, that wasn't the better reaction. Adam Lefkoe, Micah Parsons, and Darius Slay were on camera during the draft. They were doing a show during the draft for, I think it was Bleacher Report. And Tyler Booker gets drafted at the guard out of Alabama. And Micah Parsons isn't over the moon excited. He just wanted a defensive player. That wasn't the better reaction. The better reaction is when McMillan, the wide receiver, got drafted. That was the better reaction when he went to out of Arizona. That Micah Parsons sunk his head down in disappointment, and you couldn't hear it, but he definitely mouthed it. It was an F-bomb. And that right there was just that's what got you through the early, first 10 picks, 15 picks of the draft. Like that right there, that was enough to just go, oh, this is fun. Watching Micah Parsons melt down again at the Philadelphia Eagles taking a pick, or excuse me, at another pick, going somewhere else that he really wanted. So McMillan gets taken, and he goes, that was supposed to be our guy. And then you see him mouth the F-bomb. It was awesome. Tyler Warren, how about him falling 14? Goes to the Colts. Walter Nolan, I mentioned, goes to Jonathan Gannon's Cardinals. So he'll be teammates with Josh Sweat. Oh, this was cool. Matthew Golden last night gets drafted by the Packers in Green Bay. I've never seen this before. A draft pick, a guy that's just drafted, address the crowd. I'm the farthest thing from a Packers fan. I don't like that they have Matthew Golden. That's one hell of a weapon for Jordan Love. But seeing him address the crowd, I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, oh, Derek Barnett didn't do that in Philly. But I'm kidding. But I just thought that was a cool thing. I mentioned Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle going out of Oregon, going to the Steelers. Oh, before the draft, Roger Goodell was talking to Mike Greenberg, ESPN, and I caught this. The 18-game schedule, not the 18-week schedule, the 18-game schedule. 18-game schedule. It's happening. Are we all on the same page now? I don't know if he got into this. Well, he said that I think fans would really want one more regular season game and one less preseason game. And he's like, I think that's undeniable. And I'm like, well, yeah, I think so too. But I really feel that this is good. Look, I was one of the first people talking about the 17-game schedule. And a lot of people in the business told me that I respect and I'm friends with. They told me I'm crazy. And I'm like, you don't understand. You don't understand who Roger Goodell is. And I don't know if there's anyone that I've met him, but I wouldn't say I know him, but I understand his mentality. And maybe I'll put the article out there again, but I've referenced this article a lot with Roger Goodell. GQ of all magazines did this in-depth piece, like 8 pages long, on Roger Goodell. This was years ago. I want to say it was like 2015, 2016. And I just remember reading that piece. And there were specific instances of the type of businessman he was that led you to believe that when he would take the reins, this guy was going to redo the NFL. And there was a concern there because Paul Tagliabue had done a fantastic job. The NFL was still growing and doing great. It wasn't struggling by any means, And Roger Goodell takes it over. And one of the first things that he does is he renegotiates a deal with one of their major sponsors, whoever it was. I can't remember if it was Reebok or whoever it was. But they're like, oh, no, we can't do that. We literally just did that deal last year. It's a 3-year deal, so we can't do it right now. And he's like, we're the NFL. Literally in the story, it points out that Roger Goodell's reaction to somebody telling him, no, we just did that deal. He goes, we're the NFL. We could do whatever we want. Like that's the mentality of the guy. So my thought was, because there'd always been conversation about adding another game to the schedule, and people just say, no, it's too long as it is. It's not healthy, whatever. And I put it all together because at that point, Roger Goodell was already into the concussion conversation. He was already into the integrity of the shield, is a phrase you heard a lot whenever there was an off-the-field legal issue, violent issue with a player. That was always brought up, the integrity of the shield. And I'm like, this guy is trying to clean up the image of the NFL. And this guy is trying to at least make it look like he is making the game as safe as possible. Now, is he doing that out of the goodness of his heart? No, he's doing this because he wants to sell the Players Association on, well, look, this isn't the same violent game that it once was. Oh, by the way, we're bringing back kickoffs. But anyway, this isn't the same violent game that it once was. Now you could play 17 games. Oh, look how great this is going with 17 games. We could absolutely play 18 games. And what he didn't confirm, and I didn't hear him ask this either, is would an 18-game schedule also consist of a second bye week? I think it would have to, especially with the idea that your international play isn't going away anytime soon. But it's coming. I have no doubt in my mind, zero doubt in my mind, that the Eagles will be playing 18 games in the not too distant future. I have no doubt in my mind that the NFL is going to be playing 18 games. I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to play more international games. I've backed off on this a little bit just because I really don't know how the logistics would work. But I think by the time Roger Goodell is done, he would want to look back on the league and go, I made this 18 games. It's impossible to go more than that. And I got a team playing overseas. And I don't mean the Eagles play the Packers week 1 in Brazil. I mean, they got the London Lancelots, I don't know, playing an 18-game schedule as well. I don't know if they have a division in London. I think that would be the apple of the eye for Roger Goodell to walk away from his tenure as the his tenure as the commissioner of the NFL with basically maximizing profits more so than anybody imagined in their wildest dreams when he took over. So that, just get ready for that. Going back to the draft, some guys to look at for second and third rounds. I still think the Eagles are interested in a tight end. Mason Taylor, potentially LSU. Jerome Fannin, Bowling Green. Mason Taylor, I think they met with actually at the draft. It was him and Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm would be probably a third round pick. Kevin Winston, if you're still interested in safeties. Kevin Winston out of Penn State, second rounder, could be available. And of course, Nick Emanuari out of South Carolina. I know some people in the chat really were interested in yesterday. So that's it's all still very possible. It's all still very possible. Hey. Let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Game Time app has you covered. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase. Before I get into the chat check, I do want to announce that later today at noon, this is going to be a 3-show day for me. Got this, which started forget about it. I made it even later by saying I was going to go earlier. Got this. We're doing a Eagles Squad podcast at noon on Locked On Eagles YouTube channel. And then I'll be on with you guys following the Phillies 2:10 start time against the Chicago Cubs today. So busy day. So there you go. All right, let's get into the chat check and see what you guys are up to besides ripping my lateness, which is called for and acknowledged and appreciated. Farzy, the Fightins window. I like how this is the first question at 6:06. Farzy, Fightins window. Winter title is closed, I believe. Are you with me? No, I'm not. I'm not with you. Because if Andrew Painter is a stud and Justin Crawford is a stud, that could absolutely propel you. Justin Crawford could very well be that guy that we've been missing in this lineup. He could also very well be that guy that you've been missing in the outfield. So, no, I'm not with you that the window's closed. Mets, yes, they asserted their dominance in that series. No denying that. The Phillies were ass in that series. The Mets were 9-19 last year in May. So Mets fans were really feeling themselves. Kurt's Pizza Casserole. Hello. Feels like the Eagles are the only team to do something done around this town? Only team to get something done. Sorry. To get something done around this town. Yeah, it does feel like that. Ooh, Roscoe's side grade. Hello. Mina Kimes was something. Laugh out loud. I don't understand what the hell she was talking about. The point she was trying to make was, if you didn't see it, Mina Kimes on ESPN said yesterday that I think Saquon Barkley really proved that this is why you don't take a running back early in the draft. You know, the top 2, top 5, whatever. I forget if she was specific in her range there, but and everyone went, the guy that just ran for, set a record and won a Super Bowl, that guy, that's why this is the year. And she goes, I know that sounds crazy in a paradox. And I'm like, yeah, well, no, it is crazy. But I think the point she was making was it didn't work out for the team that drafted him. Like Saquon had to go to a situation that was great. So my argument is, yeah, if you have a situation that's great, like the Eagles with their offensive line, yeah, you better draft that running back. That's why I wouldn't have had a problem with like Bijan Robinson being drafted by the Eagles. You get that weapon. You find a way to make that work as easy as it could be. Aaron, hello. Phillies wasted away some of the best talent they ever had. And when the window was ajar, still, the GM didn't improve the team. While the Mets went and got Soto and the Dodgers loaded up. Yes. And then it's also the last 2 years of fix-its. Whit Merrifield, not really getting a lot done for you there. Max Kepler has, his batting average is crap. He actually hit well against the Mets. But his on-base percentage is good. It's a 337 or something like 330 last I looked. But still, these guys aren't put you over the top guys. Like, I looked at Max Kepler and I was like, you're going to need to have about a Raul Ibanez type of season, fella, to be a real difference maker in this lineup. And you haven't seen it. Now Wheeler is old. Nola stinks. Casty is old. The bullpen speaks for itself. That it does. Why did we pay Nola? I like that we're starting off with Philly stuff. Why Niners Wine? What's going on? Jim Rice 40. I didn't think Nola was anything special last year, but he's looking extra rough so far this year. Yeah, a little bit. Terry G. Forrest Mark late. Long night. Yeah, it was a long night. Watched the whole draft. The Eagles just had to win the Super Bowl. That's what I blame. I'm going to blame being late today on the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, because then, if they didn't win the Super Bowl, maybe if they sucked last year, I would have went to bed earlier. Sean Gillespie, hello. Jason A, let's go, Farzi. What a pick by Howie. Absolutely. Why does it say 5:45? I don't know. Sean Gillespie, 5:45 Pacific time? Yeah, exactly. Espresso machine broke. Yep. Oh, here I am. Recorded episode, too tired to play it. That happens. Burning candle at both ends. Why Niners Wine? You got me. Danny Johnson. Hey, I always on the up and up. If I tell you guys why I'm late, it's why I'm late. I never like, all right, what's an excuse I could come for? Believe me, I was racking my brain when I was getting back to my Fox 29 producer. I'm like, all right, I can't just tell him I slept through my alarms. And I'm like, nah, just tell him he slept through his alarms. JB, love the pick, but do we need to trade up? Apparently you did. There was one report out there, and I don't even know. Maybe it was released by the Eagles, but there was one report out there that said the Eagles were trying to trade up for somebody else that might trade back into the first round to get that pick. Not necessarily the Chiefs take them, but somebody else. I agree. Pin 96-17. Eagles did get a slam dunk. I agree. Shore Sanders, yeah, took the not a good night for him. When I first saw Jackson Dart, when they went over to Jackson Dart in his wherever he was, his house, I guess, and he was hugging people, they looked like I thought they were like he was being consoled, but he wasn't. He got drafted. Campbell is a force. Says K. Raleigh, what's up, buddy? Now I'll get the cornerback from Michigan. All right. That's not Anderson. Who is that? I know who you mean. He literally has till August. He'll be fine. Oh, the shoulder. James Jones, hello. Farzi, can you go through the NOLA comments after draft talk because I think they're relevant? Well, I mean, I know I hit a couple of them there. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. Shane O'Mac, how you doing? Eagles and Vic Fangio got their Van Ginkel. Interesting. I know that was the name the Eagles were linked to for a minute because Ginkel was one of the guys that actually really liked him. Liked Fangio, that is. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Quarterback factory. Robert, hello. If Shedeur is there at 64, take him. Quarterback factory, babe. Oh, Dank. What's up, Dank? How you doing? One pick is expensive. Casey wasn't. Yeah, I agree. KC wasn't taking him. It was somebody else. But the interesting thing, though, is that the Eagles supposedly tried to trade up earlier in the draft to get him, and the deal fell through. To get Campbell, and the deal fell through. This draft was weird. Yeah, a little bit. I'm with it. Yeah. G3, good morning. Scam Ward. That's funny. Thank you, Deshaun. GD3, Jammers really like Connolly Jr., man. Y'all got a good one. I agree. He's our Micah Parsons. I think I got everybody. Yeah, I think I got everybody. Oh, wow. BMO, careful. Funny that's your handle and you're saying just go to 20 games, no preseason, 2 bye weeks, 70-man roster, and be done with it. I think that'll be the next next commissioner. All right, Birds 365 is coming up at 10 or 8 o'clock, so I got to run. But thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful. Dev, what's up, Dev? I still want a tight end. If you're able to get Fannin, the tight end from Bowling Green, I'm all for it. Mason Taylor, I'm all for it. Terrence Ferguson, possibly 3rd round, I'm for it. That's where I'm at. When you talk about young safeties, I think the Eagles have 2 safeties that they like already on the team, and they're going to get Justin Simmons anyway, so I don't want them to get a safety. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for your patience. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. All right. Coming up at noon, Eagle Squad podcast, me, Harry Mays. I think Jason Martinez is joining us again for this one. I will be talking all about the Eagles draft, who we want on day 2. And then I'll be back with you guys again after the Phillies on Locked On Phillies YouTube channel, breaking it all down there as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. My apologies again.
Take away the scoreboard.
Yeah. Apologies again. But I'll be back with you guys for another hour today, talking even more about this. Appreciate everyone. Be back with you guys throughout the day today, and then again tomorrow for the Farzi Show. See you then.